Today, I'm going to do a bit of an experiment. I'm going to see if I can carve a swan using nothing but wood from Home Depot. I picked through the options to find the straightest boards with the fewest knots, and I took them home. I figured out the desired dimensions of the finished sculpture, and then I started cutting the pieces to size with the circular saw. I traced the outline onto some paper and then cut that out so I could transfer the outline onto the wood and then cut it out with the bandsaw. So this is a very different working process in the early stages compared to what I usually do. Usually I'll start with a giant log and go into battle with a big chainsaw, making rough out cut after rough out cut, moving the big log around, and that's really tiring and creates a ton of sawdust, so I have to say I'm much preferring this working process. Cutting things out with the bandsaw, it just creates less dust and it's less work physically, so I think I'll do more of these glue-ups in the future. The silhouette was looking pretty good at this stage, but it was a little skinny on the body, so there was a little bit extra material I had to add later on the back and on the sides. For this project, I'm using Gorilla Glue Original formula, which is great because it expands to fill the gaps in your seams. If you have any spaces between the wood when you're gluing two pieces together, it will expand and fill those gaps, so it's great for a project like this. It's also water and weatherproof, so it's good for exterior use, so it's a good all-around strong glue for doing sculpture glue-ups. Once the glue was dry, I could finally start digging in with the chainsaw and start shaping this thing into a swan. The chainsaw I'm using here is the Stihl MSA 140C with a 12-inch Canon dime tip carving bar. Now, I come from the world of carving with primarily knives, gouges, chisels, traditional hand tools. So the more experience that I get with the chainsaw and the dime tip carving bar, it really amazes me how much fine shaping and detailing you can actually do when you learn to use the tool properly and control it. Next, I'm using an angle grinder with a carbide shaping wheel to get rid of those rough chainsaw marks and just refine the surface of the sculpture so we can detail further from there. Now, switching back into my comfort zone with handheld tools to carve the fine features of the face. I looked at a ton of photos of swans in studying for this project, and I noticed so many of them have this giant, funny-looking black lump at the base of their bill, and I couldn't help but wonder, what the heck is this? What's it for? So, of course, I looked it up, and I learned some stuff. I learned some stuff about swans. So it's called the knob, and it's something that gets larger during breeding season, driven by hormones. Functionally, it's mostly about display and dominance and signaling maturity and fitness and intimidating rivals and attracting mates. And so, hey, now you and I both know something that we didn't know before about swans, and maybe something we didn't need to know, maybe something we wish we didn't know. But they say knowledge is power, so you and I are all the more powerful for it. Oh boy, okay, this is my first narrated video, so you guys let me know how I'm doing over here. After finishing the details of the face, I moved on to the flight feathers and tail feathers. For these, I used the man paw and finger sander and a little bit of hand carving too. Now it was time to sand this guy smooth, and I used all the tools at my disposal to get the perfect finish on this guy. I used the palm sander starting with 80 grit all the way up to 1000. I pulled out the finger sander, I was sanding by hand, and I broke out the rasps to shape some areas with a little bit more precision. When it comes to finishing, I usually like to try to keep it as natural as possible, but certain projects just demand a little bit of color. And I figured for these swans, it would look best to add a little bit of color, because if it doesn't have that white body and orange bill and black accents on the face, then who knows, it could be some kind of a duck, or maybe a goose, or heaven forbid, a great Canadian cobra chicken. So for a project like this where I'm adding color, I make sure to dilute the paint pretty heavily with water, kind of creating an acrylic wash with, at least a 50-50 ratio of water to paint, if not maybe 60-40 or 70-30, like more water to paint. And that way you can still see the wood grain through, you're looking at a wood sculpture, and that it's not some kind of a cheap plastic replica of something. For the top finishing coat, I'm using Helmsman Spar Urethane by Minwax. It's UV and weather and water resistant and really strong, good, durable stuff. It had the added benefit of creating kind of an off-white look, which I find was a little bit more natural for this piece. This stuff has a really shiny look when you put it on, and it takes a long time to dry. But when it finally dried and cured, after 3 coats, it had the perfect medium luster, and I was really happy with the finish on this guy. The clients who commissioned this piece actually ordered 2 swans, so this guy got a buddy that he gets to hang out with. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the new narration style format. And I hope you guys have a great 2026 and beyond, and we'll see you in the next one.